Good afternoon, and welcome back to my podcast. This is Francis Mahan. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Today's podcast will be about healing. Can we heal from past traumatic experiences? What effect does any trauma have upon our health? Can it affect our mental health? Did you know that 1 out of 3 children has had some traumatic experience, and that 70% of college students have also experienced trauma during their lifetime? Whether it is a trauma that was caused by a parent, um, an experience they had that was negative, or the death of a family member, no matter the circumstances, they have an effect not only on our biological response to trauma, but also on our health. Whenever someone encounters a similar experience, there is a setback from the subconscious mind that relates to that experience when it happened, and it triggers something in our mind and our emotional well-being. What happens if that continues? It can have a negative effect on our health. It can cause cancer, it can cause trauma mentally, and it can also create some sort of problem with our heart or to have a stroke. Yes, it is possible. It can also cause depression. The reason why so many children today commit suicide is because they have had some experience which perhaps their parents are not aware of, and they cannot face it on their own, because they can have an effect on our mental health as well as our physical expression. There is a positive and also a negative stress. A positive stress will be like now when I'm speaking. If I have butterflies in my stomach and I'm anxious and I'm a little bit stressed about beginning the podcast. And a negative one can be death of a family member or remembrance of those engrams that are already inside the subconscious mind that remind us of all the traumas that we have experienced in the past. Nurturing is very important. When a child has the support of a family or a family member, a teacher, or a friend, it makes a big difference. They're able to rehabilitate a lot faster, and the trauma can be healed eventually. There are cases when an adult may have a traumatic experience. Let's say, for example, you're married and your spouse passes on. Some people are unable to heal from that because they are experiencing the trauma mentally through their subconscious mind, like a tape recorder. It keeps going on and on and on, and they cannot let go. And it lingers on until they're unable to heal themselves. It is difficult, and we have to accept what is, but at some point we have to detach ourselves from those emotions which are damaging our mental health. Damaging because we are unable to release them and let them go. When somebody dies in our hands, it is difficult to let go of that image, but also love cures all. Because when you have the ability to see that experience as an experience of love, then you're able to move on. The only reason you cannot move on is because you have allowed your mind to keep those images in your subconscious and sometime unconscious, because you're not aware that it keeps happening until you realize that it's time to let it go. Not only is support and love important, but also therapy, prayer, sometimes even meditation can help release some of those attachment that we have created at a subconscious mind and built into ingrams that we are unable to let go. I can attest to the fact that I have had similar experience from someone that have lost three children at birth. I linger with those emotions for such a long time that I was not aware why was it possible for me to go into sadness and sometimes depression without being aware of what was happening. I kept asking myself, nothing is missing. I'm not having any difficult time. Life is okay. Yet, there was something in the background, in the subconscious ingrams of my mind that was sad, that was not released. And I kept going on and on with these feelings until I faced the fact that I had to let it go. Bet you it wasn't easy. I began to write, and every time I wrote about it, it was painful. There were tears. There were times when I didn't want to write because I didn't want to face the feeling. But eventually, I had to face what is and allow it to move on. And the only way I learned to do that was through love. Love was the only way to heal. When I accepted the experience from a point of view not of loss or sadness or I don't have or I am incapable of having children, then I accepted the fact of what is God's will, not my will. And I release and let it go. I was no longer suffering from that sadness that says I am a prisoner of my own feelings. And we can see that happening a lot with people that have had traumatic experience. One of those examples is Leon Nixon with the death of his wife, Britney Spears with all the negative experiences with the control of her parents, a marriage that didn't work, and being locked up in a situation where she's not able to release what is taking over her emotional and spiritual well-being. I hope that this video has helped someone understand how to heal, how to use your negative emotions and your pain and what is lingering in your subconscious mind and release it through love. I am not saying it is easy, but it's possible. And you can heal yourself with love. Thank you for listening. This is Frances Mahan.